Hi, all, and welcome back to A Consultant's Guide to TSR. Today, we're going to actually explore filling out the report form um, uh, once you are done with the session. Okay, actually during and sometimes during and then when you're finally done with the session. Now, let me get my share going here. Back to my upcoming appointment list. Let's say I want to go in and let's go with the one that has a little bit more information. The appointment generated on through the online portal. Okay. Now, again, when we're first working with a student, um, I'll just want to open this up. You can have it open there during the session. You can also take notes on it if you need to for any information. But it's usually a good idea to go over some of this information with them. You can ask them why they can come in, or they're required by their teacher. That's an important data point for us, is whether or not they're coming in or not. They're required to come in or not, or they're doing it for their own choice, or extra credit even sometimes. And you don't have to worry so much about the returning students. That one is going to be eliminated to at some point, just because it's tautological, because it's clear whether or not they've come in before or not in the system. Um, you can confirm the class information is right when their assignment is due. You can also ask them if they have the assignment sheet or the description of the assignment in Canvas. Usually that's where it is these days. And you could start out at that point looking at the assignment, establishing the context of the tutoring session, in other words. Okay. You won't have to worry about this so much, this portion right now, but you can ask things like genre. Um, let's say it's a signature assignment for their e-portfolio, something like that. And that would be electronic or online. Okay. Um, this you can wait till after the session. Did they schedule an appointment? It's always a good idea to have students either show students how to use the online tutoring system to schedule an appointment, or using the kiosk to schedule an appointment. Um, Now, once you have finished with the session, you can also review this area, these areas down here, to see what the student wants to focus on. If you've created a blank or a walk-in re report form, you can ask the student, or you can write down what the description of their assignment is. You can ask them what questions they had. You can put all that information here. That's not, you don't necessarily have to do it, but it's always, good thing to have more information in case someone else is looking at looking at the report. One of the other tutors is looking at the report, trying to get a sense of what the other, what else the student has been working on. When you're done with this session, you can also use these tick boxes to try to figure out what it is, or to try to drill down what it is that they worked on. So, for example, maybe they worked on uses of evidence, or following a specific format by their instructor, or anything down to grammar and usage and mechanics, understanding subject verb agreement, that sort of thing. Okay. You can review all of these to understand what they are. If they're talking about reading issues, there's separate section for reading, studying language skills. Kind of easily mark these out. Now, what these are used for ultimately are for generating reports for me to see what kind of work in general students are doing. We can usually see trends based upon this data. So it is really handy information. The biggest thing that you're going to be filling out in all these reports, whether a generated blank walk-in sheet, a kiosk appointment, or in an appointment made online, is the reflection, and then also comments to students. Now, don't confuse these two things. This reflection is for our internal use only. Only you and other people who work for the Student Writing and Reading Center can see this. The student can never see this. Students at all, unless they're an employee of the Student Writing and Reading Center, can never see these things. You can also restrict it to not show other tutors if you so choose. You have to click that off though. Okay, so if I click that, only you and supervisors, that includes lab coordinators and myself and the associate director can see that reflection. Now, these reflections, the purpose of these reflections is to help you grow as a consultant and learn from your practice. And that's why it has you, as it says, describe the tutorial session, include information about the student's materials in preparation for the assignment, describe the tutoring decisions that you may tell why you made this decision. So you're describing the appointment, but you're also describing what you did as a tutor. And again, the purpose of this is to help you reflect on your tutoring practice. Okay? You know, the big ideas of TSR is that its main purpose is to help us learn as a whole student writing and reading center. We can learn about our practices, what works and doesn't work for students. It helps us learn as well as tutors. We learn from our practice by reflecting on. Now, this other box, however, is aimed specifically at students. Now, students can see this. Remember that whatever you write in here, students can access, and it will be shared with them. And when I type something in there, whatever gets in there will be put into a talk page where the student could, in theory, interact with you, and they do. They, in practice, interact with our online tutors in that space. And I'll be showing you that. Actually, let me just show it to you right now. Why not? That makes life easy. Okay, so now one thing you remember in the other video I mentioned, don't hit delete. I forgot to mention also, do not hit finish before you're ready to finish. Now, the reason for that is that if you hit finish too soon, it removes the appointment off the appointment list. Okay, so make sure that you only hit finish when you are done. So the last thing you want to do is go up here to duration and put the number of minutes that you spent in the session, and then you can hit finish. Okay. Now, if I ever do need to get back in and edit that report, I can always go in here and click edit, and that will let me add any changes or do anything like that. Okay. Actually, I just realized that that appointment was in the future, so it's not going to be seen. So let me go try this again. Hello, hello. Let's try this. Yeah, we can also type in my board. Hello. Yeah. This was actually in the previous video. This was the walk-in session that I created. So I'm going to click finish now, and that is going to save all the changes. And there it is. Ooh, look, I forgot to set the duration. It will notify me that I forgot to set the duration. So I'm going to go back in here and set that to 30 minutes. And now click finish, and I should be a-okay. If you don't set the class name and time, or name and time, if you don't hit the class name and number, it will also complain at you that there's missing class information there. Okay, so now I'm going to show you if I go to that talk page, there are my comments that I just made. Now the student, when they log in, they will see that as well. Okay. And if the student writes back to you, then let me just try that. I shouldn't log into this one. Let me try that. Yeah, if the student writes back to you, it'll pop up like that. Okay. So the students have a couple of ways of viewing your comments to them. If you type anything in there, they can look in this talk page, or they can also look in the transcript. They can also look at the actual report itself. If they go out here and they click on view, they will see something like this, but the comments will just be there, not the conversation. Now, the reason, if you do actually have a student who's written back to you, it'll pop up here and say you have a new message. Now, the benefit of this is simply that you can use that comments to students section to summarize a little bit about what you talked about during the session. That'll help the student hopefully make use of the system on their end so they can also be learning and reflecting. On the student end of things, which we'll look at in a student focus video, they have a page where they can reflect on what it is that they're going to be doing with their writing or how they're going to revise. So that's a quick overview of the reporting system and what the edit page looks like. Again, just an admonishment, never click finish until you are done. See if I can go find a way of editing the video, the other one that I did not include that admonition in. See if I can squeeze that in there sometime. All right, well, we will see you in the next video.